We'll be chatting about what call marketing is, different businesses or creator types need to achieve when they're doing marketing. Everybody here has so many different needs. We have a tech manufacturing company represented here. We have creators represented here, NGOs and nonprofits. I want to make sure that I address that elephant in the room as well, and sharing about our own marketing agency and our journey to achieve, say, calm marketing. How I define that is sensible, long-term marketing implementation that can withstand market conditions, cash flow issues, and keeps you on solid footing when the rest is not. I've been doing marketing for close to 20 years now, and I've experienced a lot of marketing situations, marketing teams, and a lot of times it felt like the marketing was just being asked to make stuff up. There was a lot of pressure on marketing to perform, but there wasn't a lot of confidence in what was being done. So when I started my own marketing agency, I started to think, is there an approach to marketing where we can be a lot more intentional and just know that what we're doing is the right things? And so I've been trying to achieve that for myself. I've been trying to achieve that for my clients, and that's what we'll briefly chat about today. So first, I want to also break apart that we'll talk about how you put together a bit of a call marketing strategy today and some of the things that we did, but we also have to remember there's so much content about marketing and how to market online today. I think that you really need to understand where you are as a business will really determine what you can achieve, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, who you should be listening to, who you shouldn't be listening to. So that's one of the first steps of call marketing, which is cutting away the rest of the noise. Because, I can watch sales funnel videos on YouTube all day long, but maybe a sales funnel or a landing page sales funnel is not the type of tactic I need to be doing for my particular marketing agency. So knowing where you sit. So there's a few different kinds of businesses, and we could probably come up with more, but the startup asked to help with marketing startups. And when I say startup, I don't even mean a well-funded startup or a real startup. I mean someone who wants to be a business coach or life coach or wellness coach. People will say, well, hey, look, I have all this experience. I would love to share that knowledge and experience with people who could benefit from it. But no one knows that I exist, so they'll chat with me, hey, how do I engage your marketing agency for marketing? And typically, I end the call with, you shouldn't. Here's what you should be doing on your own to get going because of where they're at. They don't have a lot of disposable income necessarily to be able to throw. And really the core thing in a startup, a small coaching business or something like that, you are the best marketer for that business. So you just need maybe some confidence from a marketer about, hey, yes, your knowledge, network, do this, do this, do this, keep going, do that for 2 years, and you'll find your tribe. And then you'll have some recurring income, you'll have some clients by that point. And then you can have a marketing agency or a marketing help you with your social media, things like that. But don't do it now, because a lot of people, I've seen people hire us and then run out of budget quite quickly because things aren't taking long. People don't know them well enough yet. They were putting their money behind us to just do some social media. It just isn't a good fit. Versus an established or local company, their marketing needs are quite different. They can probably hire, they can probably build a team. They can build a marketing team, they can grow their marketing channels, they can see what's working, what's not working, and then they can start working into new markets. The founder becomes less involved in an established company, and then maybe a growing company, an international company, their needs are completely different from a restaurant or a coach. You're looking at scaling what's already working, you're looking at going global while also not spending millions of dollars in advertising and finding those right partners to get that experience or that technology into a different market. So again, the marketing needs are quite different. The marketing team that you need in these different scenarios is quite different. A coach and creator is grow your reach, content collabs with other creators, Just sharing quality content into communities, one of the best ways that you can market yourself. A restaurant, get your staff to work on those Google reviews, update the photos, host theme nights where people come and have chats and events, give people a reason to show up. There's a million restaurants in Chiang Mai, so we just gave them some ideas on how they could stand out and start attracting more people to the restaurant. NGOs and nonprofits, online services, manufacturing, the tactics are all very different. And so I just wanted to highlight that the concepts that we'll talk about next can be applied to any type of business, but the channels, the tactics, our 20 story with marketing so far as a marketing agency has been kind of fall. So how do we market our agency? We serve global clients. We do marketing strategy, video, photography, websites, all the normal stuff that is needed. Well, we aren't niche specialists. We're not SEO specialists. We're not affiliate marketers. We're not even video editing specialists. We're generalists. So how do we market ourselves? That was a question in 2024 that we were trying to figure out, because we had clients, we were busy, we had a team of about 10 people, but we weren't really, no one really knew who we were. We didn't really have a brand. And marketing agency that is not marketing itself is not learning those techniques that we're applying to our clients. So in 2024, we got the team together and we said, okay, if we want to grow, we're going to need to care ourselves. So what are we going to do? So in 2024, there's a picture of our local team and part of our brochure, but we started marketing our agency without too much structure behind it. We were trying different things in 2024. We knew that the team elected that I should be the brand ambassador, try to be the face of the company, and try to bring in the clients and the trust. We did a light branding update. We did a photo shoot with our team. Minnie actually did the photo shoot. We did a little branding update. We updated our logo. We did a few local events about social media just to try things out, because we were already quite busy in 2024, and updated our website to better show our profile. So we tried a few things that we believed would work, that seemed sensible. And then in 2025, we said, okay, we actually have a 12-month marketing plan. And it was calm. In other words, we had a plan that we knew was working and made sense in 2024 from what we tested. So in 2025, we could start enacting that plan. What we had to think about was who we were. There were different directions that our identity as a marketing agency could take. And I think a lot of you probably understand this as well. Who is our brand? Who are we serving? What do we offer? What is our unique selling position? We were still figuring that out. We had some ideas, but because we were marketing generalists, there were a few different ways that we could go. Eventually though, you have to focus in on what makes the most sense. You can't try to be something for everyone forever. So we were working on that. We wanted to be a trusted guide for sensible marketing for our clients. We figured out the target that we were going for. We figured out some of our core offerings. And we also figured out here are going to be our key channels: LinkedIn, YouTube, webinars, and in-person events. So in 25, are you curious to see what actually brought in leads for our marketing agency? It's actually interesting. You'd think a marketing agency, we'd be bringing in leads from the website. Nope, we had one lead coming from our website. Partially because we aren't a really specialist agency that does a lot of one thing over and over and over and over. Most of our turnover and our even newer came from our current clients. Current clients that work with us for a year or more, they're the ones that continue with us the longest. Then referrals and new network. So people I would meet on LinkedIn, people I'd meet in person, brought new work. And then of course referrals. So happy customers referring us on, or even people that we weren't customers with, but just said, hey, come on in, find a seat. But I'm not bothered when I see that we don't have a lot coming in from the website. Partially because, again, our agency isn't like an SEO agency where you want just leads coming in on a regular basis. We're very bespoke. We have long-term packages, things like that, where we work with people. So from what we learned in 2025, what are we doing in 2026? We're continuing to refine that messaging and target persona. So we were going for just various kinds of companies fairly broadly this last year. Now we're refining it further. I'm currently working on consolidating our services as well, so we're a bit more refined there. This third point is really important. More intentional value for our existing clients. When we looked at it, we realized long-term clients are half of our turnover, short-term projects are the other half. So we need to make sure that we're actually giving our long-term clients, so if you're a coach or you're an NGO or whatever, how much marketing are you doing? How much nurturing are you doing for those long-term clients that already want to buy from you, right? That audience that already follows you. That's something that's really important. We're really working on this year so that our long-term clients, they never want to leave. That's what I would like to happen. Because it's really easy to forget that they exist and always be looking for more and doing. The last point here, expand our network. Sorry that the TV is a little low, but expanding our network past our current, continuing to expand our network geographically. So, for example, we did a lot of events in Chiang Mai this year. Great for building network and community. I'm not really planning on doing a lot next year. I have a collaborator in Bangkok, planning to head to Bangkok to do some events with him down there. Just expand that network, start to connect with more companies, that kind of thing. Okay, so there were some of our journey on how we were achieving call marketing. So this is where I want to then apply that to you. How do you do the same? I do a full presentation on this. This is kind of the smaller version of it. But first, creating the strategy. Now, you can go on YouTube, you can go online and find really great tutorials and outlines on how to create a marketing strategy. So I'm not going to try to reinvent that here, but just give you the core concepts that we need to keep at the forefront. I think when you audit your marketing, people a lot of times think about, oh, we could be doing this better, we could be doing that better, we could be on more channels, or yes, I mean, it's good to kind of see where you're at, where your competitors are, what they're doing, what you could be doing better. But I think one thing that we often forget about when we're auditing ourselves is really digging into what's working. So when a new client comes to us and says, hey, we need a new marketing strategy, or we want to update our marketing strategy, I spend a lot of time asking them, okay, you're still in business, you haven't shut the doors yet, which means you have customers. Someone's paying some invoices somewhere. Who are those people? Where did they come from? In other words, really understanding what's working now before you start to try to change too much everything or look at the competition, oh, we need to be doing that or something like that. I would almost rather that companies really focus in on this. Companies really focus on what's already working, partially because, I'm going to get really honest, a lot of times when as a company, we want to get marketing, we're trying to cheat. We want a magic bullet that'll bring in customers. And I get that a lot as well as a marketing agency. Hey, I will hire you so we get more customers. Okay? And then I'll do an audit, and we'll do a strategy, and I'll say, actually, we need your salesman to do this in order to get more customers. Well, that's hard, and sales, we don't want to do that. Can't you do some ads? In other words, there's this sense of let's outsource it and just get clients. So this is where I say really dig into what's working and see how you can boost that. There's a company that came to me right after COVID. They were very successful before COVID. They're in the tourism business. And they say, okay, we're restarting operations. We had no money for marketing. but we would like to kick things off again, let people know that we're still around. And I said, well, don't hire me. Let's think through what we could do. Hey, how many existing customers do you have in your database that already came through and use your very high-end premium services? Take 10 of those a day for the entire green season, the low season, and email each one of them. Go back to your tours, find a picture of you now from 4 years ago, stick it in the email, see how they're doing. I said, just do that. You have the time, they can do it. So that's where I said, audit yourself and see what's really working, because a lot of times there's something that you don't really necessarily want to do that's a lot more effective than hire marketing agents. I try to make sure that the marketing that we do is needed, right? And so I try to make sure that those boxes are checked first. Of course, define your audience and their problems, right? I think Minnie's going to be talking really well about really understanding what people are looking for, right? And giving that to them in the format that they really engage with. And this is the marketing strategy right here, one statement. Help who achieve what with our service and attract them via these channels and tactics. That's your marketing strategy. Everything else is based on that. That's the core that you have to be really sure about. This is what we're going to be doing. Everything else comes off of that. When you have this really well understood, this statement at the bottom, then you can actually achieve call marketing, because everything then ties back to this statement. So when you go to actually implement that marketing strategy, boost what's already working as much as you can. So if something's already working, do more of that. Right now we're just reading a market research report that was prepared by a Danish marketing agency for a client. And after 100 pages, it's very clear they're in a very industrial industry. The only thing that works to sell is the relationship of the salespeople with the end client. And those relationships have been built over 5 to 10 years of seeing them at trade shows, chatting, going out to dinner, all that. The end clients, the marketing, the branding, etc., it's all nice, but it's really inconsequential to the actual sale. So what we're going to be talking about with them is, how do we do more of that? How can we support your sales guys to tools that can help them when they're meeting these people? Don't rely on marketing campaigns. What was really interesting about this event is we did Facebook ads, we did some videos, we did a regular Facebook ad. So most of the people who actually came from direct invites. A lot of you are here because I messaged you directly and said, hey, are you interested in the event? Our marketing campaign didn't work, but our marketing campaign of sending direct, real messages to people we thought would be interested in the event did work. Think of longevity. One thing that we do is a 15-month marketing plan for companies, and that idea is to help them think really long-term instead of a 12-month. When you're thinking about whatever you're about to do, as a creator, as a coach, as a business, the longer term you can think, the better. Then you work through approach and tactics. How are we actually going to approach this? What tactics are we going to use? This is often where we start when people come to me, hey, what channel should I be on? Well, what is actually your plan, your strategy, your audience? What's actually already working? What's working for other people? Don't jump to tactics first, but eventually once you go through all those and think through those, then you can start looking, what is my approach and tactics based on this strategy, based on what's working, etc. And then sanity check it. Fewer channels can really help you keep it focused and calm. So most of the times when we try to start up a marketing strategy for a product, for a company, for one person, for a big company, what's actually achievable is less than what we hope to achieve. It takes longer to achieve it, and we're not able to deliver on all those things that we would like to do. So do yourself a favor when putting together your own plan of less is more. Start with less, build out from there if you can. That way you can also be a bit more relaxed. Nothing's worse than getting 4 months into a marketing strategy and throwing it all out the window because you weren't able to achieve what you had hoped to achieve. So start with less is more. And create your action plan based on this. And then we're going to talk about the 5 ones concept in a few minutes as well that actually can really help you with that. Experimentation is okay. So for us as a marketing agency, we have been trying to figure out who is really our target. What is our best USP? What seems to work? So you don't have to have all this figured out on day one. You give it your best guess from doing an audit, doing some marketing research, getting a mentor or a marketing coach to give you some pointers, but then be okay with experimentation. I was literally telling people, hey, we're a marketing agency. We don't really know exactly where we're gonna land as our own marketing. We're trying out different stuff, especially in 2025. We were just throwing things against the wall. And when the team would say, oh, that's not working, or oh, we don't have time for that, I was calm the whole year because we were experimenting. We were seeing what cadence on YouTube videos we could actually keep up. On events, what would we actually be able to achieve versus what we thought we were able to achieve? So be okay with that kind of experimentation. And if someone's like, hey, what are you doing? I have a marketing strategy. I'm experimenting a bit and I'm giving myself time and leeway to do that to help me figure out what really works and then help me focus it down. So that's where I'd like to say it was calm but not calm. So a little bit about delegating. So the dream is we're going to live in Thailand and our business is going to run itself and we're going to be on the beach and we're going to be work and volunteer work and the business is just going to passive income. That's a dream. Well, as we all know, it's a dream that is very elusive. So before you go off and think, okay, well, I got a marketing plan. Now I'm going to outsource it. I need a marketing assistant or I need an agency. Check through a few of these things. Make sure that you're already doing more of what's already working. Typically, people try to outsource their marketing a little too early in the game. You should do it yourself a bit longer. That way you know what's working. And then when you do delegate those valuable, repeatable tasks that drain energy or stall your momentum. So for example, if you've figured out, hey, I can create these podcasts or I can create these articles on Substack or whatever it might be. People are finding these valuable. I'm starting to build a little bit of community. Now you can think about maybe delegating a bit of that now. So it's good to figure these things out yourself. That way, when you do delegate, you know it's superpower. You know you figured it out. You know, you can outsource specialist work that you know you can't master yourself, especially if you're a solopreneur or a startup of some kind. You can get specialists on, etc., to do something very specific for you. That's a great way to do it in Thailand, Philippines, etc. But keep the ownership. As you maybe develop a network of freelancers who are helping you or marketing or even a marketing agency, make sure that you keep the ownership, the accountability very clear. As a marketing agency owner, I often need to make sure that when people are delegate work to me, business owners, we're really clear on who's responsible for the marketing strategy, the results, the ROI, depending on what they're asking for. Having that conversation reminds them that just because we're doing it doesn't mean it's going to be a success or build towards what they're looking for. So yourself, when you hire a marketing assistant, for example, don't feel like, oh, it's off the list. I hired a marketing assistant from the Philippines and now I don't have to think about marketing anymore. Probably you're going to have to think about it more than you did before. Okay, that's not a mistake at the bottom. Sorry if you can't see it, but make sure you only outsource what is really effective, because if it's not worth doing, why start and blame the contractors? Funny characters there, because definitely have felt that myself. Make sure that you're outsourcing effective things that are actually working, because otherwise, why would you expect it to work? A lot of outsourcing at its root is laziness, shortcut. Don't treat a marketing assistant or marketing agency as a shortcut to your success. But they can be very helpful to getting you there. Make sure that that is really clear. When we hired our marketing assistant for Greenlight Studio, we had already done it ourselves. We knew what was working, we knew what we wanted him to do, and then we gave that responsibility to him. Okay, I'll go really quick through the 5 1s. Now, this is a concept that might help you, especially if you're a solopreneur or a creator. It's basically one target market, one product, one conversion tool, one source of traffic, and 1 year. The idea is to really focus that you might have other services, but it allows you to refine all your energy, your messaging, everything to that core thing that you bring the most value to. For us as well, we're generalists, so this was really helpful for our 2026 plan as we're starting to refine things, is bring it down to more of one core audience, one core product that we would talk about. Even though we'll still have auxiliary product, even though we can still help other companies, this is the main one we're going for. So this can really help you as well. If you can do that for 1 year, I would love to see what your brands, your personal brands, would look like after 1 year of trying this, especially if you have a lot of different things in your head. You don't even have to get it right the first time.